Aston Villa have been the busiest. They have been in a transfer window for a very long time, and it feels like a bit of a regeneration of new players into this team to bring that younger and smaller wage bracket into Aston Villa. But after all this, are they actually better off? Are they a better side because of it? That's what I'm going to discover today. Me, William from Forecast Sports. And after the break, I'll talk about the changes that have occurred and what that will mean. There have actually been a really even amount of ingoings and outgoings so far for Aston Villa. And it seems like they are going for the young guns. They are wanting to bring in young players and get rid of the old, while also bringing in the sufficient money to allow them to make these changes. So they have brought in Manzambi, a real star for Switzerland at the Football World Cup, and he has looked really good as well for Freiburg, his club. And this transfer is £60 million. This is quite a lot of money, but for the form he brings, for the age he is, I think it's actually a really good transfer. They got their money in as well for the sale of Morgan Rogers for £117 million. So that seems a bit of a switch up between those two, bringing in those younger players and putting them under Emery to rebuild them up. And it feels like a straight switch between Manzambi and Rogers. Not totally different players. Manzambi's probably more of a defensive player, but he has a lot of quality in that final third and makes some really good runs, as we saw he did for Switzerland in the World Cup. Now, Aston Villa have also brought in João Gomes for £38 million from Wolves, who have dropped down to the Championship. So that's a big transfer in as well. And I think he will climb straight into that starting 11 for Aston Villa. And I think all three incomings will highly likely be starting. They've paid a lot of money for these players and will expect them to be able to produce magic. Now, we cannot put too much expectation on them because these are players who obviously had to get used to Unai Emery's system. But in the Premier League, we have seen a lot of expectation coming in to these new players. So it's going to be key for them to create an impact. Now, Gomez and Garnacho have both come from the Premier League beforehand. So it seems like it's going to be an easier move for them than Manzambi. Manzambi's another different question. This could be a bit of a gamble, who knows? But we know the quality he brings, so they are betting that he will do this again. Gomez is more of a defensive midfielder, while Manzambi is more attacking, but they both have a lot of quality and aren't hugely defensive. They're more slick passing, movement, sort of, that's their strengths. Then we have Garnacho has also come in for Aston Villa for £42.6 million, and there have been questions about this incoming. This could be a good decision from Aston Villa, but we cannot guess that yet. He's an interesting move, but it could be worthwhile. He's sort of part of the deal for Rogers. They just swapped with Chelsea. But it could be an interesting move because he has been good for Chelsea, but also at times poor. He's pretty on and off player, and his ego is very large. So it'll be interesting to see how Unai Emery faces this. On the other side of the transfer window, they have had quite a few outgoings as well. getting rid of Morgan Rogers for £117 million. That was where their money is coming from. And that is a crucial sale. They needed that. Yes, it puts them down a big player who has been so crucial for Aston Villa for their past few seasons. But I believe that is too much really for Morgan Rogers. He's not the consistent player that possibly Chelsea think he is. And he hasn't carried Aston Villa on his back for every moment of every season. He is more of just a playmaker, a player that hits up in the big moments and was crucial for Aston Villa at times, but wasn't their huge. He wasn't hugely dependent. They weren't hugely dependent on him. Now we move to Yuri Tielemans. Now this guy has been massive for Aston Villa in the past few years. $35 million pound sale to Manchester United. Now this one's also quite interesting. At Yuri Tielemans, he deserves what he's given enough to Aston Villa, and he deserves his move through his release clause. But there could be questions about this because now that leaves them a bit more vulnerable in the midfield. That's why they have brought in so many players, Manzambi and Gomez. But it's an interesting move. I think he's worth more than that, possibly. And another player they've sold for possibly lower than they wanted him to was Luca Dean through that release clause as well for £4 million to PSG, which was a big move for him. Now that's also an area where they just had to let him go there. And that's just how it is. Get those wages off the books and keep the age down within the side. I think it does a little bit towards that, but not huge amounts. There is still a lot to come within the transfers for Aston Villa in the short future. After the break, I will talk about how they will play with these new transfers and the rest of the squad. Here we go. This is how I predict Aston Villa to line up. Now, this is an interesting 4-2-3-1 system that Unai Emery has brought into Aston Villa over the past few years, and it's quite a direct, central sort of system. They don't really use wingers hugely. Now, what they are looking to do at the back, Martinez in goal could possibly have a move away, so that could be an area they have to recover from. But in defence, Consa-Torres, centre-backs, Cash, right-back, and Matson, left-back. Now, they need backup in those full-back areas. Centre-back, they should be alright, but in the full-back areas, they are needing more players. And I think those two full-backs are of the level of Aston Villa, but they could look larger than that. I think we may see something extra over Matson, but who knows what Aston Villa can do within the rest of this summer transfer window. It could just be these back four. I'm not completely sure yet. But when we move forward to the defensive midfielders, Kamara is a ticking clock. He is so crucial to Aston Villa and has been a massive player. For the past few seasons, he's been through a lot of injury strife over the past while and is a very injury-prone player. And that's why they probably won't get much from him if they sell him. So he is the guy they want there. But they need more depth. Amadou Onana has been injured till December. So that's a big loss as well. So we could be looking at another transfer in midfield. Otherwise, McGinn or Manzambi will likely drop back to if one of those of João Gomez and Boubacar Kamara do get injured. But I like it. Maybe you could ask for a bit more defensive work. Kamara is going to have a lot of pressure on him. Gomez needs to help as well, but we know he has got a workload on him as well. So this could be an interesting duo and to see how they work as well. Forward from those two, there are questions of how they're going to rotate the attacking three midfielders. And are we going to see a different system from Unai Emery? Are we going to see more wingers, such as Garnacho, using those wide areas? Garnacho really likes playing nice and wide down that wide sideline and going to the byline. He's going to be crucial. If they do, they'll have to start him. He's going to be crucial to be used. He needs to be used from that left attacking midfield role. Then Manzambi. This is my interesting spot. I like it. Manzambi, I think, will take that centre attacking midfield role. And he likes to move where he likes. He likes to play a bit of a roaming role. And that is where he can be most useful, I think. Getting in those great positions he does get into. And also on the counter-attack, putting great balls forward. I'm really excited to see how he impacts the Premier League. Then on the right midfield attacking role. John McGinn, I think, will take this. He was backed on the left side last season, but I'm not. He may take that right attacking role. Emiliano Buendia is also a player who can take that attacking midfield role as well. So it could be a bit of roll of dice, but I think McGinn will be wanted to be starting most matches. He is such a experienced head to have on the field, so crucial for Aston Villa over the past few seasons. Then I also think up front, Ollie Watkins could be getting a move away, but at the moment, this is how it stands. 4-2-3-1, Ollie Watkins up top. After the break, I'll be talking about what comes next, because there are still some transfer rumours and there's still a lot to do for Aston Villa over the next month in the Premier League transfer window. There is still a lot to do for Aston Villa within this summer transfer window. It's not over yet, and we've seen some rumours coming in and going out for Aston Villa, which could certainly be on the horizon. Plus, because we have seen so many transfers that have just hit us really quickly, we could be in for some surprised ingoings and outgoings as well. So first of all, I just want to look at possibly the most likely transfer is Nicholas Jackson from Chelsea. Aston Villa have been in quite a lot of talks with Chelsea over Jackson's future, and this, if he comes in, we will likely see Ollie Watkins leave Aston Villa, and he has had some rumours as well. So I believe this is the most likely transfer to occur, most likely happenings to occur for Aston Villa in the next month. Hopefully they get it done early so money is well received and well paid. They need to make sure they get this right as well, because they cannot afford to have too many strikers or too little strikers. They need to have just right and have it all sorted. Now, what's Nicholas Jackson going to bring? He is he's an interesting player. He makes some good runs, possibly lacks quality finishing, and he had a really difficult season for Chelsea when he was there 2 years ago. But Bayern Munich seems to have ramped him up and got him to a better level, so hopefully Aston Villa see themselves improve with him coming. And this also alludes to, I think, they may want to move on from Ollie Watkins. His level has slightly dropped in the past season, with him struggling to score goals at times, and his age is getting on the larger side. So to add to that opportunity to bring the age level down and have a better future for Aston Villa is possibly what they are looking for with Unai Emery. And we know Unai Emery does bring out the best in players, and there is quite a lot of opportunity, I think, with Nicholas Jackson at striker. I don't think he's going to be the highest quality that we'll see, so it could be interesting to see how he adapts, but I think it will be okay, and it'll be interesting to see where this one heads to. Also, Aston Villa, I think, are wanting to strengthen their wingers. They may want to be bringing in a more winger-styled attack as well, with what we have seen with the Garnacho transfer. Could we see a right winger come in? That would be really interesting, and I'd be really excited, because this is a new Aston Villa side and it'll be a big change for them. But I think this will be good change, and we could see a really exciting team and a faster paced Aston Villa in the 2026-27 Premier League season. Now, don't forget, they are playing in the Champions League as well, so they need the depth too in most areas of the pitch. So they need transfers at the fullback area, as they don't have many players who can play left back and right back. So I expect there will be another transfer there. And the one last transfer I think that could happen is Emiliano Martinez. I don't think he wants to stay. I think he wants to go. So we could need to buy another goalkeeper in that position. Remember, he should get a decent fee despite his age, because he is a very high quality player and starting goalkeeper for the Argentinian team. That does mean something when it comes to transfers, and teams are willing to jump at those opportunities for players with that experience. Now, the challenges for Aston Villa, I think, are going to be bring this all together. This is a bit of a reset, despite the manager being the same, Unai Emery, and we know how good he is at bringing the best out of players. But it could be a really interesting few months to start it off, bringing those egos and styles together. And it's also maybe a reset as well for those experienced heads at Aston Villa, because this seems like it's going to be a new system for Unai Emery. Who knows how it goes, though? This is going to be an interesting area for Aston Villa. They really have it in them to go far within the Premier League. We've seen that in the past few seasons. And Champions League may be an issue for them to stick with the Premier League, but we have seen them produce some really good seasons, some really high quality seasons, despite being in Europe. Now, I have to get to my prediction here. For the Premier League, I believe Aston Villa can be in a title race. And I've said this with Chelsea. You can check out their video. It's up on YouTube and Spotify. But I believe that this will be a huge Premier League title race. The door is open. And unless Arsenal take it by the scruff of the neck this season again, I think this could be blown wide open. Anyone could take this. And we saw the equal side of the Premier League within the European spots to the relegation spots. There were some incredibly close clubs, and teams were only separated by a point or two for most of the competition. So I think this Aston Villa have a shot here. They have one big shot. If they can get this system right, this tactics, and Unai Emery can get the best out of players, they have the ability to challenge for the title. I don't think they'll win it, but I think they will go their best season in a very long time and come third despite their Champions League commitments. Now, I also predict that this will be a very fast-paced team and a very exciting team to watch. We did see them as a bit of a boring team at times last season, but I think we are going to see the best of the Premier League from Aston Villa. and I cannot wait. So tune in for more. I'll be bringing lots more to come from myself on Forecast Sports. More of these Premier League club breakdowns before the Premier League starts, and then we kick into it. And I'll be previewing and reviewing every match week and bring even more. So get excited. It's nearly here. Thank you for listening.